Congratulations if you've decided to breastfeed. This is the best start in life you can give your baby. Breast milk is unrivaled as the ideal food. Not only has it the perfect mix of nutrients, but also all of the infection-fighting antibodies your baby needs. However, like anything, breastfeeding is a skill that needs to be learnt, but once it's established, it will give you great pleasure.
Breastfeeding is the very best start you can give your baby in life. It is a very special, unique formula, tailor-made for babies. It actually protects your baby against all known infections, particularly ear infections and chest infections, and also protects your baby against viruses. We now know that breast milk also helps develop your baby's nervous system. For you, breastfeeding is really good. It helps you build up a unique bond with your baby, because when you breastfeed, you release lots of lovely hormones that help and aid this bonding. It also helps you get your figure back, because you burn up 500 calories more per day when you breastfeed. And it has a great protection against ovarian cancer, breast cancer and osteoporosis.
While you're still pregnant and in the early days after the birth, your breasts begin to produce a substance called colostrum. This is extremely easy for your baby to digest, making it the perfect first food. The first hours after delivery is the ideal time to get started on your breastfeeding.
Breastfeeding on demand is recommended with breastfeeding. That doesn't mean leaving the baby asleep all day, particularly in the early days and weeks of breastfeeding. Babies should be woken up every 3 to 4 hours if they're not demanding feeding. However, breastfed babies can often feed much more frequently than that.
If you feed your baby whenever they're hungry, you'll produce plenty of milk to meet their needs. Your breasts produce milk in response to the baby's feeding. So the more you feed, the more milk you'll produce. Supply meets demand. Every time your baby feeds, your milk supply is being built up. How your baby is attached to the breast is key to the success of breastfeeding. This is called latching on. When your baby is in position, wait until their mouth is open wide. You can tease it open by gently pressing the upper lip with your nipple. Bring your baby to your breast, the chin and lower lip first. Baby's mouth should cover all your nipple and about 1 inch of the brown circle, the areola, around your nipple. Your nipple should touch the roof of the baby's mouth with his tongue underneath. Once your baby has a good latch on, there'll be a period of quick suckling to get the milk flowing, and then rhythmic suckling. And his chin is pressed into your breast. The suckling pattern changes from short sucks at the beginning to long, deep sucks with pauses. Any areola visible should be above his top lip, not below his bottom lip.
There are many different ways to position and attach your baby, but there's some key principles. So I'm going to talk you through a number of different holes. The first thing I would say to mums is get yourself comfortable.
Finding a position that suits you and your baby is important for successful breastfeeding. Make sure you're comfortable and well supported. Use pillows or cushions if necessary. And whether you're sitting up or lying down, keep a drink close by, and most of all, relax.
There's some new research out on a new position for breastfeeding called biological nurturing, and this actually works very well in attaching a baby on a breast. In this position, the mother is not sitting up bolt right upright or lying down. She's semi-inclined and she's lying the baby on top of her body. And in this position, the baby actually self-attaches. This hold now, if you put the baby in what's called the crook of your arm, lying along your forearm, and position the baby with its tummy to mummy's tummy. We call it tummy to tummy. With the baby in a straight line, and if you tuck the baby's bum under your other breast, it makes for very good alignment. Then we encourage mothers in the early days of breastfeeding to support their breast with feeding. You can do this by going in onto the breast with a C hold. Now, mothers often instinctively go in with a V hold, but that'll actually make your nipple very sore. So if you support the breast in a C hold with the under finger well away from the areola, that will actually make a very good shape of the breast for your baby. It's tummy to tummy. It's nose opposite nipple, and it's a C hold on the breast, and when the baby opens its mouth, you bring the baby swiftly onto the breast. So we say bring the baby to the breast and not the breast to the baby. This will actually make for very good attachment. Another variation of this hold is actually something called the cross cradle hold, and a lot of new mums like to initiate this with breastfeeding because they feel they have a lot of control in the actual initiation of the latch. In this, it's similar to the first hold, except you're doing the C hold with your other hand, and you're holding the baby's back and neck with the baby in straight alignment again. So it's very important that you hold the baby's back and neck, and again you're supporting the breast in a C shape. And you're bringing the baby to the breast, waiting for the baby to make a large open mouth, and when it makes a large open mouth, you're swiftly bringing it onto the breast, and then you can put your arm around the baby like this and relax into a nice comfortable breastfeed. There's another hold you can use for breastfeeding called the rugby hold or the football hold. So in this hold you support the baby's back and neck, let the baby lie along your arm and tuck the baby underneath your breast. And in this position you use the same principles of nose opposite nipple and bring the baby to the breast with a wide open mouth. This is a very good position to use for babies, particularly twins. Another way of breastfeeding your baby is lying on your side with your baby tucked up beside you. A lot of mums breastfeed lying down in bed, particularly late during the night. With this, the mother lies on the bed with two pillows, usually her head on the pillow and her shoulders on the bed, and tucks her baby up beside her, nose opposite nipple. Again, it would be the same principles of bringing the baby swiftly onto the breast when the baby makes a wide open mouth. This is a really comfortable way to feed a baby. There are lots of good indicators that breastfeeding is going very well by looking at your baby's output. In the first couple of days, the babies have very little wet nappies, and ideally one wet nappy. Day 1, day 2, day 3, and when your milk comes in on day 5, the baby will normally have about 6 wet nappies in 24 hours. This is a really good indication the baby is breastfeeding well. Another very good indication is actually looking at the stools. And babies have meconium stools for the first day or two, and they have a changing stool which is usually black, green or brown, day 2, day 3, day 4. And when your milk comes in, a baby who's breastfeeding really well will have 3 to 4 yellow seedy stools in 24 hours. If your baby has these sort of stools, the baby is breastfeeding very well.
Your breastfeeding is going well when your baby is alert and waking for feeds, has a minimum of 5 or 6 wet nappies and 2 soiled nappies per day after the first week, has gained weight, sleeps and settles during the day, and is feeding comfortably and pain-free.
If a baby is not correctly latched on your breast, you won't see rounded cheeks, you'll see dimpled cheeks. You'll also see the baby doing very short little sucklings as opposed to long rhythmic sucklings, or you may see a lot of the areola. In that case, you also may feel a lot of discomfort feeding. So if that happens, it's very important to break the latch and start again. And the best way to do that is actually put your finger into the baby's mouth and let the baby actually suck on your finger and break the latch very gently. Signs that breastfeeding may not be going as well for you is if the baby is not wetting and dirtying its nappies. So particularly in the early days, if you look for urates in the nappy, which is pink staining, and if the baby is not passing sufficient wet and dirty nappies, it would be very good to contact a health professional to help you with your breastfeeding.
It's vitally important to seek support in your own community, and support is available from a variety of different sources. There's the Leche League of Ireland, who have support groups, and you can find them in the local phone book. There's Krysia, who also offer postnatal support, and there may be, not all public health nurses have them, but there may be a breastfeeding clinic in your local public health centre facilitated by your public health nurse. And I would say that it's vital that mums seek support, because no matter how easily you started off, there will always be questions that you have. And I would say to mums that most of the questions revolve around what's normal and what's not normal, because most mums in Ireland are very familiar with the ways that babies have been fed in terms of bottle feeding, and they don't realise that breastfeeding a baby is quite a different scenario, and that breastfeeding babies respond differently.
For information on breastfeeding support in your area, go to www.breastfeeding.ie.